Hey friends, great to have you here. This is LJK Financial Foundations. I'm Lonnie Cernoli, and this is where we talk about money matters, Money 101, the foundation principles of money. So this is for the average household where we really dig deep on the subjects of budgets, savings plans, emergency funds, and side hustles, and all kinds of stuff in between. So stay tuned for this next video, and where we will be talking about budgets, digging into the questions of what a budget is, why, and my 7 key tips as far as getting started on a budget. So stay tuned, hit the subscribe button, and check this video out. Hey guys, welcome to Money 101. Great to have you guys here. As I said, we're going to get into budgeting about this today. So the first question that I get is, what is a budget? A budget is incoming money and outgoing money, making sure that you basically have more money coming in than you have going out, and then also looking at what you're spending your money on. Is it a magazine subscription that you no longer get the magazine for? Is it a streaming service that you're no longer watching? How often are you going to Starbucks? Are you spending a bunch of money on that versus some of the things that you really need? It's just, this looks at the spending habits and makes you aware of where your money's going and really looks at that. So that's what a budget is. That's what it can help you do as far as looking at your money coming in, going out, and your different spending habits. So the next question is why budget? Doing a budget it's a spending plan. It helps you figure things out, helps you to, like I said, understand your money, and then it also can help you get out of debt, guys. With this pandemic, so many people are in debt that it's really tough on everybody. So this can help you plan that. You can plan a savings and whatever else, also plan to get out of debt, paying off those debts that you have. So that's what a budget can do for you. That's why the budget, and that's what it can do. It can definitely help you guys out, but it's definitely important. Money is an important thing, and money is really the cause of a lot of things going on in today's society. You don't have to take my word for it. You can look at some of these articles that I have. I mean, the number one cause of divorce in this article is money problems. It's the number one reason for divorce in households. So that's a big thing to me. I mean, I hate seeing people argue over money. We've been there, me and my wife, everyone does it. There's arguments and whatever, but unfortunately it affects some people to the more extreme, to a point that it causes a divorce. The next thing is 68% of Americans were hit by a setback from for finances during this pandemic. Guys, 68% of Americans were hit. That's a crazy number. A lot of people think they're alone in this, but you're not. 68% of Americans were hit by this. I'm saying this multiple times just to help it sink in, guys. That's a big number. That's crazy. I myself fell into kind of a depression about that, in thinking that I was alone. I knew other people were laid off, but I didn't think people were having the problems that I was having. And after reading some of the things I've read and talking to some of the people that I've talked to, I understood that I wasn't alone in this. So I want you, friends, to understand that you're not alone in this. 68% of you guys are in this same problem of dealing with the pandemic and dealing with financial problems from it. So the next slide we look at, only 4 out of 10 Americans have saved $1,000 for an emergency fund. If you're looking at 10 Americans, only 4 of those are able to pay $1,000 if something came up, some kind of emergency. This is a crazy number to me, guys, because things come up all the time. That's why it's important to have an emergency fund. That's one of the things that I'll get into more in depth along with our budgeting and stuff. So just really look at this. I mean, it's a 4 out of 10. I mean, that's a crazy number, though. There's a lot of people in America. So again, you're not alone on this, but that's why we're looking at this next slide. It says basically 3 signs that you need a financial overhaul. The majority of people in America have problems with money. Some people aren't doing budgets. Some people are loosely doing budgets. Some people don't even understand how money works in order to do a budget. So, and then some people have professionals to help them do it. So I am here to help you guys get this. I mean, the 3 reasons that people need an overhaul on things are: you don't know how much your bills are going to cost you. You don't know how much they cost every month. You don't know anything about what your money is being spent on. The other one is living paycheck to paycheck, is what this article says. People were doing living paycheck to paycheck before the pandemic, so I know that they definitely are now. But the other one is you regularly pay your bills late, and that's a big thing. There's a lot of things that affect people with that. So whether you're using your credit, not using your credit, I mean, you definitely want to be able to pay your bills on time. So the next slide is my 7 steps to getting started with your budget. The first one is going to be just setting realistic goals, understanding where your money is, how much you have going in, and having a realistic look at how much you're going to have going out for things. The second one is going to be making sure you identify your incomes and expenses, like I said earlier about it. You want to know where that money is going. So take a look at that. Really open up your bank book or your checking account on the computer and definitely look at where all the money goes every month. It's a very important thing. So the next rule is to separate your needs from your wants. I need to pay rent this month. I want to watch Netflix. Netflix can be canceled if it comes to a point of, hey, I'm going to be short on rent. I know that's a small example, but I need to pay my power bill. I want to have Starbucks every day. $25 if you go once a day every week. And then if you go multiple times, I mean, you could be 50 to 75 on up, who knows? Depending on how many times you go, what kind of drink you get, all that. I mean, that's all wants, guys. You need to make sure that your bills are taken care of first. So next, you just design your budget after you've really identified your income, what's going on, and where your money's going, and then your needs from your wants, and then just design that budget. If this is something that you need more help in, I'm going to be going more in depth in doing budgeting on whether it's on a piece of paper and just writing it out or on a Excel sheet. I have a sheet that I've already made up on Excel that I sell on my Etsy store that is very helpful for this kind of thing. So if that's something that you guys need, I'm going to be digging more into this in the next video, so make sure you check that out next week. But the next thing is to put your plan into action, guys. You want to make sure that your plan has you getting started with this plan. If you feel comfortable getting started doing your budget, it's going to be hard. It's going to be definitely difficult. I'm not saying this is going to be easy by any means, but those who put in the work are going to reap the rewards. Once you get out of debt, that's going to be a great thing. You'll be able to have a whole new freedom to it. That's why it's important to get that going and get that whole plan into action, getting it going. You want to look ahead on things, though, guys. That's the next step on this. Look ahead, plan ahead. There's birthdays, anniversaries, there's Christmas, where you're going to be spending all kinds of money. And looking at that kind of stuff, that's where you want to plan ahead. You know what you got to get, what that looks like financially. And if you don't plan ahead on that, start looking at, hey, I want to purchase this. Am I going to be able to pay for it in that 1 month with my new budget? Or do I need to start planning $10 a month for the next 6 months? or whatever that looks like, however much money you would need to set aside for however long. Plan ahead for those kinds of things. But give yourself grace. That's the other thing that I say. You want to make sure that you're going to stumble. You may fall. You may have problems with this. It's not a, hey, I got this right overnight thing. Mistakes are made, and there's ways to help make up those mistakes in different things. And I'll talk about that here in a minute. But, you just give yourself grace on this. You guys can do this. I know you can, friends. This is difficult. This is hard. It's hard to be like, hey, I spent this much money. This is what I allotted myself. I really want to go spend more, but I can't. That's what the 7 steps are. So who is a budget for? That's the next thing that we know. Now that we know why, what, why, and what it looks like to get it started, who is it for? A budget is for anybody from the high schooler who just started a job to a senior citizen who's on a fixed income and everybody in between, guys. The next slide is, are there rules for this? Yes, there's rules for it. There's the 80-20 rule, and then there's the 50-30-20 rule. And I know you're like, what? What are you talking about, Lonnie? It's all right, guys. I'm going to go into that real quick here. And so the first rule, the 80-20 rule, basically, I would say is for the younger people that, they don't have as many responsibilities and things like that. But the 80-20 rule basically says that once your income comes in, you just chop off 20%, it goes into savings, and then the rest of the money you have to spend on your needs, your wants, and all that stuff. So here we are looking at the 50-30-20 rule now, which is a little bit more complex version of the 80-20 rule. So 50% of your income when it comes in goes to your needs that you definitely have, your bills and things like that. Then 30% of that goes to your wants, and the Netflix, the Starbucks, whatever that is, what that looks like. And then 20% of that goes to your savings. So that's what that's going to look like for the 50-30-20 rule. Again, 50% for your needs, 30% for your wants, 20% for your savings. So that's a little bit more structured than the other rule that I talked about. So some people require a little more structure, especially at this point in life. That's where it's at. All right, guys, and that brings us to our last slide of what's the difference? Which one do I pick out of these 2 rules? Here are my recommendations. I'm going to recommend that if you are a younger person, that high schooler that I talked about, that's living with family, where you have a little more leeway with things, less responsibilities as far as your finances and things like that, the 80-20 rule is going to be a little bit better fit for you. If you end up going over, not a big deal. You can just go into that 20% there, and it's not going to affect you as much. Where if you have more responsibilities and, things like that, then it's going to be a little bit harder to break into that. If you're at this point, my age, where you have more responsibilities, the 50-30-20 rule is going to be a little bit better for you, and this is why. If you hit that 50% needs and you go over on that, you can still go into your 30% of wants. So you won't be able to get Starbucks as many times as, this month or whatever because of that, but you still have a little overflow of something. You need a new muffler for your car or something because your car is having problems, or you need new brakes for your car. You can go into your wants a little bit in there, and you just got to self-sacrifice on that, where it's not a big deal, where the savings is more of a big deal at that point. If you're on a fixed income, that savings is definitely more important, because obviously you want to have like an emergency fund or whatever else in case something happens. So you want to have that money set aside for that. Do whatever is going to work for you. Just get it started, guys. In my next video, I will definitely be going into budgets a whole lot more detail and really breaking it down more. So thanks for going through this video with me. And if you got anything out of it, please hit the like button, guys. And if you had any questions on one of the two rules that I had, the 80-20 rule or the 50-30-20 rule, definitely give me a shout. Ask me questions in the comments. I'll do my best to answer it. So take care, guys. And here is the positive quote for you guys for this video.